Let's finish off lesson 4.3 part 2 by writing a deductive argument for the triangle exterior angle conjecture, as well as completing some example questions. I know that writing a deductive argument is really challenging. It's one of those skills, though, that the more we do, the better we get. So hang in there. And as I'm writing this, I just want you to think, what would the next step be? Or can I approach this? Or what is my strategy for approaching this? When we write a deductive argument, we always start with the given. And this is where it is helpful to have a sketch. And I'm going to use the sketch that we used in our example, in our investigation. Okay, so I'm going to be given triangle ABC with exterior angle CBD created by extending AB as shown. So that is my given information. We can either work with the measures, like actually writing measure, angle, or we can work with the variables. And so because that was part of our investigation, I'm just going to write them out like that. It's just going to be a little bit easier. So we're going to say, let A equal measure angle A, C equal measure angle C. So this is going to be baby A. This is going to be maybe C. B equal measure of angle. Now this time we have to be more explicit. Angle CBA. And X equal measure of angle CBD. Now, a lot of times when I do my deductive arguments, I kind of want to, once I label my given information, I always sort of want to think about where am I going? And I call that my want to show, or my WTS, my want to show. What do I want to show here? I want to show that X, the measure of my exterior angle, is equal to A plus C, the sum of my two remote interior angles. So in my want to show here, I'm creating some sort of equation. Why I write this out, again, is it just kind of showing me what I want to do here. I have to start with equations. That's where my next step is going to be. Can you think of two equations that I can write by referencing some prior conjectures? I'm going to give you a hint. I talked about them in the warm-up. Okay, here they are. They are triangle sum and they are linear pair. And so what we'll say is, by the triangle sum conjecture, what is true? The sum of the measures of the triangle, measures of the angles in the triangle, are equal to 180. Okay? What else do we know? By the linear pair conjecture, B plus X is also 180. Well, this is really interesting because I have an expression equal to 180 and I have another expression equal to 180, and I know 180 is equal to itself. Different teachers use different reasoning here, but I'm going to just say by substitution. By substitution, A plus B plus C equals X plus B, right? If this equals 180, and this equals 180, 180 equals 180. Are we almost there? Are we almost at our want to show? We are. We have an A, a B, and a C on this side of the equation. We have an X and a B on this side of the equation. What do we need to do? Use our inverse operations. This is by the subtraction property of equality. Or you could just say, subtracting B from both sides of the equation. Sometimes I say that. A plus C equals X. And then you could even write a little therefore. Remember, our triple dots means therefore. The measure of an exterior angle is the sum of the two remote interior angles. Sum of the measures of. Ta-da! Honestly, though, you could just stop here if you wanted, but this kind of puts a little icing on the cake. Great job. Again, the more these deductive arguments we do, the better we get at them. 2 examples to do. We're not going to do this page 219 example. When we do these examples, I want to challenge you to apply the conjecture that we just used. It's not that we can't use other conjectures or kind of take a different way around, but the goal is to help your brain remember and recall and apply the most recent conjectures. So in this example, I have an exterior angle, and I have the 2 remote interior angles labeled measures as P and T. I have the measure of an exterior. And the question here is, what is the sum of T and P? We don't even need to know what T and P are. All we need to know is that the exterior angle is the sum of the measures of the 2 remote interior angles. So T plus P is 135 degrees. In this example, we have an exterior angle, and then we have 2 remote interior angles. And we notice those remote interior angles are congruent. So if we added them together, they would be 2x. So that tells us that 2x equals 144. And then we could divide by 2. And so x is 72 degrees. Again, this is using the conjecture that we just learned. The remote exterior angle is the sum of the exterior angle is the sum of the 2 remote interior angles. You could use linear pair and then triangle sum. It's not that you can't do it that way. It's just that I want you to use the conjectures that we just learned. Great job completing lesson 4.3.